Greetings for the day and welcome to the session. In India, this is a great evening, a wonderful evening. And the today's topic, which is one of my favorite topic, it's related to the Microsoft Teams. So we are going to discuss about the Microsoft Teams governance. This is one of the very important point or key feature for the Microsoft Teams when we implement Teams in our organization, in our company of any size. So we are going to discuss what is the Microsoft Teams governance. Basically, first we'll discuss what is the governance, what is the Microsoft Teams governance, how to implement the governance in our organizations, in our companies, and so on. And there are, we'll see the out-of-box demo and then the customization required and so on. So let's start the show. I hope you will enjoy this and you will learn something new today related to the Microsoft Teams governance. Before continuing to the Microsoft Teams governance, I'll just few seconds related to about me. I'm working as an architect at the Apexon. I have around 15 years of IT experience, mostly on the SharePoint. So I started working on the first version of the SharePoint, say 2002, then the WSS 3.0, MOS, 2010, 2013. Nowadays working on few migration projects for the 2016 and 2019. And then since last 3-4 years, I'm working on the cloud technologies. Got an opportunity to work on the Microsoft 365, so very heavily use work on the Microsoft 365, develop 8 to 9 intranet applications. And we are like in the situation like we could now have very clear vivid view of how should be the intranet for any organization. So whenever the my users of the organization logins to the organization, they see which content should be prioritized and what should be the related content and all those things. So and then recently gotten work on the teams governance, and since Teams is a very popular now, Teams is a coming emerging as a collaboration tool, and SharePoint is like a content management behind the scene to the Teams. SharePoint is there. So that is my work area. Gotten chance to work for Azure as well. So Azure Apps is there, Microsoft Graph is there, Azure, bit work on the Azure App Services and Web Jobs. So that's me. I used to write blogs on knowledge-junction.com. I'm very fond of the writing. You will find on when you visit the knowledge-junction.com, I'll try to be a blog or article in a day or two, mostly related to the latest features. Since this is a cloud technology, Microsoft 365 changing everyday basis, so mostly related to those. And then my favorite topics, Microsoft Teams, governance, Power Platform, and recently started studying and working on Kubernetes and Dockers. So that's me. You can contact me at any time at psabadra@gmail.com for any topic of the cloud or Microsoft 365 Teams, Kubernetes, Dockers. Of course, SharePoint is there, migrations is there. Yep. So that's about me. So let's start about the Teams governance. So I'll give you some background basically why this topic I found like so very critical or important any organization and something. I will share some couple of use cases first, so you will get an idea why we are focusing so much on this. Say for example, there are two use cases. One of the use case like my organization as migrating to the Teams. Skype for Business was retiring and migrating to the Teams. So and whenever we uh, this required bit technical knowledge behind the scene Teams. So whenever we create a Microsoft team, in either through the Teams admin center or through the desktop client or any custom solution, provisioning solution. So whenever we create a team, behind the scene one SharePoint site is get created, Microsoft 365 group is get created, and all these things behind the scene happens. So my organization was one of the customer for my organization was migrating a team to Teams, and they need to create around like 8 to 900 teams beforehand, before making the users to create teams themselves. So these teams should be in place beforehand. And here we have faced challenge like one of the option if teams admins through any user create. So this is not get distributed to all amongst the users. So organization has nominated one person to create the teams. We have some data, all the data of those teams, and let's allow that user to create the teams. So when started, one of the when we start with the any user or out of box approach, there is a limitation at that time was the 300 teams can be created by one user with his account. So to have that limitation, then we have provision a custom solution. We have used the graph APIs, we have written the job and the graph APIs to create the teams, and then we have data somewhere, what is the team name, who are the team's owner, and this kind of metadata about the teams. And then we have executed the job. So that way it's a remove, and we have used the uh, to authenticate the graph APIs. We know that we need a permission. Either we could use the admin account and the username and password, or Azure app client ID and the secret key, or the certificate. So we have used like Azure app ID as a client ID, and we have used the X059 certificate to authenticate, and that allows us to go through the team's metadata and to create those many teams. So this was one of the kind of a bit workaround, or we could say the customization. So that was the one use case, the team creation process. How should be the teams should get created in my organization? So this is one of the part of the team governance, and here are the important schemes. I will share the second use case. For one of the our again organization, there are lots of teams are getting created, and then we realize that there are the like most of the team, not most of the teams, but the few teams or certain teams, those are not get access since some time. Again, we observe that for some teams there are the external access are given by the team owners, but those are since the long time, those permissions are not revoked, those are not get reviewed. Again, we notice that some teams are orphan teams. Owner has created, or he has on owner is on left the organization or on the long vacation, and there is no more owner to communicate with for that teams. Then we observe that some teams are like naming with the uh, coffee team, tea team. So these naming conventions are not followed. So those were difficult to understand why these teams are created, who has created, who are the members, are those really required or not, or occupying the licenses, or these kind of thing. And that's why to avoid this kind of mess, to have a effective utilizations of teams, my Microsoft 365 licenses, to improve the productivity of the users, to use the proper collaboration platform, the governance is in a picture. And that's very I myself, or even we strongly focus that this is a very really important topic. Each and every organization, irrespective of any size, those should follow the governance is in place. So to have the agenda of the today's session, introduction to the governance. What is governance? Let's discuss the what is teams governance then. As we are discussing why teams governance should be the integral part, we already discussed a couple of points and then few more points. Then what is the strategy planning for my setting up the team governance in my organization? How to form the team governance team, so that could set up the governance strategy planning, that could monitor the team governance, and that those could be the implement the team governance, put the governances in place. So then what are the what the decisions need to be taken to the consideration of the team governance? So these are all kind of points which we are discussing, and then I will show those few out of box approach which are in few clicks. Within couple of hours we could set the governance, basic governance is in place. And then we'll see the custom approaches if we want to be more sophisticated, more organized way, very strong governance strategy or planning in place, then the few customizations are required. So these kind of points today we will discuss. I welcome you all for a healthy interaction. If you have any question or point, or because these are the continuously changing thing, if some setting is changed, you could always interference in between, or you could contact me later as well, or put the questions in chat box as per the preference. So, this is the today's session's agenda. Let's start with then the introduction to governance. So what is basically the governance? See, this governance is not only we are discussing about important thing while setting up the teams in my organization. If we have the SharePoint developers, SharePoint users, since long time, SharePoint is a huge product. Whenever we have either in on-premises or online, in online as well, all in the SharePoint features like Power Platform, Microsoft Teams, SPFX components, security and compliances on daily basis, the changes are coming, and those changes are welcome because those are improving the productivity of my organization, those are improving the effectiveness in my users. So to maintain all these kind of things, we always need to be keep an eye on all these features. So basically governance is nothing but a set of policies. So irrespective of SharePoint, irrespective of Teams, or irrespective of any feature or any other product as well. So it's a basically set of policies, set of processes, few roles, responsibilities, which will be responsible for all the users, these kind of things. So we need to put together all those things. We need to put together the guidelines. We need to put together the documentation. So all those things to be the place, we have to keep place and then maintain them, then implement those strategies and planning. These are nothing but these are the governance. And why these are to achieve my organization goals, to improve the performance of my organization, to have the effective utilizations of the licenses which I have purchased for Microsoft 365 or Power Platform or any other features or Azure licenses. So this is the governance. I need to put some rules, some policies, I need to distribute some responsibilities among the key users of my organization, or which will maintain those kind of goals. And then I need to achieve my business goals, my organization goals, and all those things. And that's why this is nothing but a governance. So when we will discuss team governance, we need to we need to take some decisions, what kind of decisions we could take, so that those will help to achieve the goals of my organization, my company. And I'm again reiterating, irrespective of any size of my organization, my company, whether it's a small, started adopting the teams, whether it is a mid-size organization or a big organization, irrespective of I already have teams in place but not the governance strategy planning is in place, or irrespective of I am starting adopting the team, I need to migrate to the team. So it's a best practice that from initial level I put, or from starting level I put the governance is in place. So that was the one of the best practice actually. So let's discuss the team governance. I draw this diagram. I draw this diagram, high level diagram, to understand what is the organization. What is the team governance? So my organization is there. My organization is in any process already have teams is in place, adopting the teams, starting with the teams, migrating from Skype for business or any other collaboration tool to the teams. This governance is in place. So once I have teams, I need to have a team governance is in place. So to have the team governance is in place, I need to take some decisions to be taken. So what kind of these decisions I need to take? So whenever any particular policy, rules, responsibilities we share or we implement in our organization. So while creating a teams, we need to do some planning. We need to take some decisions, some questions to be asked. Before these questions, I'll come back this on diagram again. But before that, I'll come this back on. One of the most important point for setting up the teams governance, or for keeping the team governance is in place, is forming the team governance team. So now what will be the team governance team? I need to identify, or there are the users of my organization who knows the business goals of my organization, business goals of my company. Certain few like these users kind of the stakeholders or the high level users who understand the business of my company, who understand the business of my organization, who knows the goals of my organization, goals of my company. If in big companies, then in that case, in big companies, those users can be stakeholders or few high level business users. Then couple of users or a few members who can be effectively communicate with the business users and normal organization users or normal employees of my company. So those are the like intermediate users or intermediate team members who could effectively communicate, who could understand the goals from the stakeholders from my organization or for my organization goals, and then communicate with the business users. So these two kind of users that should be a part of my team governance team. Then there are the now this is at the business level. Now at the team level, technical level. So these should be the team administrators or at least the members who knows the technical side of that Microsoft Teams, so that they could effectively prepare a plan, effectively take the decisions, technical decisions. So this kind of team governance should be is in place. This team will be a medium size based on my organization, number of departments, number of areas in my organization, that kind of stuff. If so that was again the decision, the number of members in this team should be okay. So team governance should be is in place. Now let's come back to the diagram again. So we are started, we have now, suppose consider the example, team governance team is formed. In my team, I have few stakeholders which communicate with the intermediate users, then users communicate with the other users of my company. And then I have the technical team, which are the team administrators and the team developers. So team governance teams is in place. Now, this team need to take the decisions. And this is the important, very, very important points to take the, or to answer the questions in this decision, to take the, to have the planning for these decisions. What kind of decisions needs to be taken? Naming convention, like like we have a use case, like some teams are started with the tea teams, coffee teams, sport teams. This is not the best practice for my team's naming convention. My team naming convention should be based on my user location. These are the various options available, either my user location, my users department, my users area, my users office, sometimes on the technical side of the user, technical developer, that kind of thing, IT developer, support developer, that kind of thing. So naming convention should be proper. Say on, if it is a location based, say for example, India teams, or if this is a very broad, then India Mumbai teams, India Pune teams, India Hyderabad teams, that kind of thing, based on the location side. If it is a department wise, then the finance team, HR team, IT team, and again we could have the sub naming convention in between. So admin team, in admin also admin traveling team, admin passport team, passport processing team, these kind of the examples are there. So those kind of naming conventions should be is in place. What are the benefits and how to set out of box naming convention, we'll see into the demo. Then most important again, the control of, then most important is the control of teams creation. I need to take a decision, I need to take the answer to the question, who should be able to create the team creation. Whether all my organizations should be able to create team, that means all the users within my organization should be able to create team, or my organization will allocate few people and then the approval process is in there in between for the team creation. So this decision is very, very important. Here again, please note, one of the best practices, most of the organization gives all users control to all users to create the team. So in that way, we could have like less dependency, and whenever user required, there is no timings in between the approval process and goes to the users who will create team. This is the faster way for the team creations in my organization, provided all the best practices, all the guidelines should be there in place. That was, and even Microsoft suggests in that approach actually. Next, whether the external sharing is allowed or not for my team. This is also a very important point. Who are the external access? Who are the guest users? The users, the friends, the third parties, the partners, the collaboration partners who are not part of my tenant. Those are all the users who are the outside of my Office 365, my Microsoft 365 tenant. For example, my tenant is a knowledgejunction.com or multicloud for you. That was my tenant, and if I want to give permission, say for example, one of my friends which is have a Gmail account, which is our Microsoft account, or which is our other Office 365 account. So all these users are the external for me. So whether, and this is again security. Here comes the, why this point is very important. Here comes into the picture the security. Whether if I gave the external access, what kind of permissions, what kind of level permissions I give, either at the view level or download level or edit level or that kind of level. So I need to take decisions so that external user won't harm my organization data, won't breach my organization security concerns. I won't allow my external users access to external users for the finance teams, for the admin teams, these kind of things. Then there is a team life cycle. As we have a use case like certain teams are since long time and nobody is looking at those. So those are there. Unnecessary are those are there. So I need to specify whether I need to specify some duration to the team. I need to give life cycle team. So for example, in my organization, I have created one team and my organization policy, my company policy is 180 days. So my governance is here, is governance rule is here, is governance decision point here is after 180 days, I should review whether this team is required or not. I should communicate with the team owner whether this team is required or not. So that decision I need to take, what I need to do. If it's not required, then what action I need to do. If it is required, then I need to renew my duration, or I need to keep the retention policies. I need to archive or not, these kind of decisions. And then one more, this list is long actually. I have listed here the important points or important consideration for the team governance is in place. Then the which features of my user will access the teams, whether they could calling feature available there, the meeting feature available, they could set the live events or they could arrange the meetings or they could chat or not, messages each other or not, these kind of the decision, these kind of apps decision, should I control or not. So these kind of decisions I need to take to place team governance in place in my company, in my organization. And here the team governance team's role is very, very important. Then the next most important point in this is the documentation, and the documentation. There are two types of documentation. I need to note each and every decision by the teams, by the user of my organization based on my organization goals, my business goals, effectiveness in between the users, easy collaboration among the users to improve the productivity. All those points should be documented. Documentation is the key feature, not key feature, but a very important feature for the governance is in my place. Then most important again, with the documentation, whatever the decision I taken, the guidelines to be set. For example, if I am allowing to the team's creation to every user in my organization, then I should place the naming convention guidelines to them somewhere which is accessible to all my users, like a common public team or something like that, or some common repository, or where all users has the access and they could read through the guidelines, go through the guidelines. And this is not a one-time process. As we say, we are in the cloud technology, we are in the cloud area. Every day new features are coming for the very benefit of us, benefit of our organizations, to making our life easy. So every day new features are coming, so these guidelines should be keep updating. It's a responsibility of respective users who are responsible for updating these guidelines, mostly the team administrators, team users, team developers. Those are understand the technical things and make the things easier for the users of my organization. And then once this is in place, once these are implemented, then we have very easy access. Team admin provides, or we have custom reports, audits, monitoring as well. Those are very easy. Those we could be represent to our management. team's governance team could represent to the management, users, and say that, okay, how effectively we are implementing, how effectively we are monitoring these governance planning strategies. These are the reports, how we are how these things are very easy in our organization and making smooth business, achieve the smooth business goals in my organization. So that was also important part. We will keep monitoring, we will auditing uh, for every duration and having the report presenting to the management as well. So this is all overall the governance, the team's governance, few basic decisions, and my important point through these sessions um, to reach out you understand what is the governance and what are the decisions to be taken, because implementation then it's a very easy part with few out of box techniques and with few customizations. So that was the easy part, and then monitoring. So my important or my focus here is in to understand the governance, why it is necessary, very necessary, and then every organization should follow and keep it. Okay, let's move. So these are again the decision points. I'll move this again. Governance team. These are the decisions I explain in detail. So we'll go for the first decision, the naming convention. And then the questions to be asked, are there any naming convention is in place or set for my teams? And based on the what properties? These kind of questions should be asked. Those should be answered by the respective users by keeping eye on my business goal and the goal of my user or the achieving the success of the teams in my organization. And as we say, there are the certain attributes, certain parameters which we could use to set the naming convention. So rather moving the next decision, let's move to the demo one. Out of box features, Microsoft 365 or through Azure Active Directory Admin Center. There they provide some out-of-box feature, the naming policy for the Microsoft 365 groups. Now we will discussing the teams naming convention. We are here in the groups naming convention. When we apply the naming policies, naming convention on the groups, those are automatically get applied to my Microsoft 365 teams, my SharePoint sites, and all the other features including Yammer Planner which are associated with the Microsoft 365 groups. This is very important point. What are the options for naming policies here available? If you see on my screen, there are few block words. So we could block those words. So I want to block like tea word. I want to block like coffee word. I could block those words, and those then users can't use those words in there while while creating the team. And then certain naming policies, prefix and suffix, I could associate, and some user properties. So let's have a demo. I'll go to my tenant. So here I have my tenant knowledge junction1.com. Let's move again. I'll start from start. So this is the admin center. I'll have all admin centers here. I will go to the Azure Active Directory admin center. Why this? Because the option to set the naming convention for Microsoft 365 group is available through the Azure Active Directory admin center. So I'm clicking on that. I'll be redirecting to the Azure Active Directory Admin Center. So there are two ways to navigate to the Azure Active Directory Center. Either you could directly have the URL aad.portal.azure.com, or you could go through as we came from Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and then all Admin Center, or if it is in the top list, recent access, then the Azure Active Directory Admin Center. Once we are in place of the Azure Active Directory Center, then here in the left blade, click on the Azure Active Directory. So let's move on the Azure Active Directory. So once we are on the Azure Active Directory, then there are the group section. In the group section, I have all listed of groups, and here you notice the naming policy. Let's click on it on the naming policy. So once we click on the naming policy, we are on the groups management menu blade / naming policy. This is good practice to have the URLs also, so that we understand what blade is there, which blade on which are there, and where we are. So blocks word, there are two options to set the naming policy. One is as block words and second is the group naming policy. In the group naming policy, where we could set the either prefix or suffix. In prefix suffix as well, there are two options, either add prefix or that where we could set either string. This is hard-coded common string for all teams, or attribute. Attribute is based on my user profile properties. Notice here. But here limitation for my out-of-box approach is there is only these many properties are listed here for which we could set the naming policy, like title, country, state, office, company, department. If I have some custom user defined property, say for example business unit, department is there, sorry, business unit or some legal entity is there, then those are not listed currently. Those are supported only these many properties, and that's why custom implementation. But we will discuss about custom implementation in the latter part of this session. So here I already said, if you notice this one policy prefix, knowledge junction, and the group name. So whenever I create any group, the prefix will be a knowledge junction. We will see the demo right away. But before that, I will go to the block words. For block words, they have provided very nice CSV file. We could download it. I started downloading it. It comes with as a blockword.csv. It's opening. And here, if you see here, the coffee and tea are specified. So coffee and tea are the specified. So these words are the block. Hello, my screen is visible?
Yes, Prashant, it's visible.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is visible.
Yep, thank you. Sorry, I got the notification that sharing is overlapping. Okay. Okay, thank you. So in this Excel, this blockword.csv file, I have specified the words coffee and tea. So now let's see, I'm going to the Teams. Okay, here is my Microsoft Teams desktop client. Let's create the new team. I click on the bottom, at the bottom, join or create a team. Okay, let's create a team. I won't select any template or something. Let's create a team from scratch for now. Sorry, create team from scratch. Let's create the public team, and I am giving the word coffee.
Sorry, Prashant,
Hello.
only PPT is showing. So
Yes, from
your
start we have not seen any present means demo. It's just stuck on the that Azure Active Directory Admin Center
Yeah.
PPTs.
I think you
Okay.
have to share the browser as well. Maybe you shared
Let
only
me.
presentation.
Okay. Share content, and okay, it's my
Again,
bad. I'm
reshare.
sharing.
Yeah, share again.
Yes, sharing. Is it visible now?
Yeah. Now it is.
Browser?
Yeah, now it is.
Okay. Sorry for this. We are discussing that naming policy. So we came to the Azure Active Directory Admin Center. We are discussing either you could came here through the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and in the admin centers, and then the Azure Active Directory Admin Center, or you could have directly aad.portal.azure.com. Once we are here, from the left menu, left blade we call it as, it's Active Directory menu blade we call technically. We click it, come on the groups. I am clicking on the groups here, which list all my groups, company groups, and then here is the option naming policy. So if I click on naming policy, we are discussing there are two options. One is the block word and one is the group naming policy. In the group naming policy, here again we have two options. One option either put a prefix or a suffix to my group name. For example, here I put the prefix knowledge junction and then group name. So whenever the new group will be created, there will be a prefix, compulsory prefix knowledge junction. So my group name will be say I created a group finance group. So my group name will be a knowledge junction finance group, knowledge junction HR group, knowledge junction admin group, and so on. So this is the case when we apply the prefix and the suffix. There is one other possibility to set the prefix. This is the static prefixes or suffixes, hard-coded one. Knowledge junction here is a static one, hard-coded one, while setting the group name or team's name. But then there is a few dynamism also added. I'm saying few, limited dynamism, because they have provided like saying attribute based on my user profile properties, based on my user profile properties. But then the limited properties are set. Which are the limited properties? Department, company, office, state and provenance, or country or region and title. Only these many properties. But what in case I need to set, I have say for example, my users have the custom user properties. For example, say business unit. My business unit is like a finance or something kind of thing, some other value. Say legal entity, these kind of things. So in that case, there is a limitation, and that's why the customizations comes into the picture that we will see in the later part. Okay. Now, so this is one of the options for setting. Here I will see the demo as well by creating a team, but here we already set the prefix as a knowledge junction. Now let's move to the what I want to show, block words. So Microsoft allows us to upload a CSV file with the block words. Is this Excel visible now or browser is visible?
Browser.
Browser is
Okay, let me see whether whole screen I could share actually.
While sharing, there is option. You can share your entire screen.
Is this a screen one or something?
Yeah,
Can you-
correct. Screen one, correct.
Okay, let me share the screen. Now, Excel CSV file visible?
yeah. This is
Yeah. Okay, so we have Microsoft provide an option to have upload a CSV file, block words or date CSV file, and here I have specified two words. One is the coffee, and another the tea. So anybody from my organization or any user from my organization is try to create the coffee and tea. Try to create a teams or groups with the words coffee and tea, those are get blocked, they won't create. Here are a few exceptions as well that I will show right now as well, but let's go to the teams first. This is my Microsoft Teams. These Microsoft Teams, I'm giving one point that I'm logged in with account prosham at the rate knowledge junction one dot on microsoft.com. So my tenant here is a knowledge junction one, user is a Prasham, and this user is a global administrators. Okay, please keep note this point. This user is a global administrator. So I am creating a team. I hope the desktop client is visible now, right? Create team from scratch, public team. I am using word T team. I am creating it. Allow me to create, right? Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
yes,
Yes.
it is.
Yes, I'm skipping. See this, even though I have blocked the word tea and coffee, it allow me the team, it allow me to create the T team, because the rule is, the exception is the global administrator and the team administrator, user administrator. Okay, these roles are the exception for these naming policies convention. This is again very important point to have in mind. Let's see the group first, and then I'll again log in with another user who don't have this kind of roles, and we'll create the team again. But I am now moving again to the browser. I'm clicking on the groups again, and let's try to find this now T team. Load more. Let me find if I could sort them. This is the T team. See here, there is a no prefix as well, knowledge junction. Okay, so these are the exceptions for the global administrators, team administrators, that kind of users. Now I'm again going to the desktop client. I am signing out from the global administrator account. It will take a second, but let's have, it will important for the demo. I'm now signing with the third user @knowledge junction. Previously, I'm signed with the prasham @knowledgejunction1.com on Microsoft. Let's sign in with the third user. I hope I'll remember the password for this. This is a free Office 365 developer account, which allows us to have the 25 users with the E5 Microsoft 365 licenses, including free Power Platform, Power Automate, and Teams license as well. I hope in next session Rohit will show this. Okay, great. I logged it. I logged out. So let's join or create a team. I am here the user with, I'm clicking on the user at the right top corner, and I am the user with the third user. Let's create the team from scratch. I won't go now in templates. Let's have a public team. If you notice this, is it visible? Your organization has some naming policies. Here, how your team name will look like. Is it visible? Knowledge Junction T. Also, please notice the name can't contain a T because we have specified this word into the block words. Getting this? And this third user is a normal user who is at least not a global administrator, team administrator, and user permission or user policies, some user administrator something. So these three roles. This user is not belongs to these three roles, and that's why these naming policies contain. It won't allow me. Create button is the disable here. This is the one of the very nice feature. The out of box is available through the Azure Active Admin Center. If same thing for if I'm giving you the coffee, it will appear like thing. But let's create the team multi-cloud for you. The error went, create button enable. Let's create. It's creating the team. And if you notice the team name, I'm skipping users. If you notice the team name, it's a Knowledge Junction Team Multi-Cloud for you. We didn't specify Knowledge Junction, but it came through the naming policies, because in browser here under naming policies, under group naming policies, we have specified the prefix Knowledge Junction. Okay, we have avoided the word tea and coffee. So in this way, this is only a few minutes of job or 1 hour or something like a job. I mean to say a short job to have a naming policy. Governance is in place to begin with the governance, to start with the governance. This is easily out of box approach available. Let's move to the next demo. Rather going to the PPT, I'll move to the next demo as time kicking. I won't go these decisions. I'll have the again demo. Expiration naming conventions, naming policy for 365 group. We saw that naming policy. No, sorry. This is the now the expiration settings for the Microsoft 365. Let's move to the same place. Azure Active Directory Admin Center. Groups. Here under the setting, we are into the group sections. We came to this Azure Active Directory menu blade. We came here under the groups. And then here under the settings, there are the naming policies and there are the expiration. So I came to the expiration again. Here we have option. What is mean by the, first of all, let's discuss what is the expiration. This is nothing but the life cycle for my team, duration for my team based on my organization policy. So what will happen if I set this expiration settings or set these policies in place? What will happen? Say for example, I set 180 days. After 180 days, the mail will be sent to the users which I specified here. What mail will be sent? Mail will be sent before, see this, renewal notification are emailed to group owners of 30 days, 15 days and 1 day prior. So before 180 days, yes, when 180 days, before 30 days, before 15 days and 1 day, email will be sent if the team is orphan. What is mean by orphan? The teams don't have the owners. If the teams has the owner, email will be sent to the team owners. If the team don't have owners, that means there are the orphan teams. Email will be sent to the users which we specified here. Okay. Now, before those respect in the 3 slots, respect to 30 days, 15 days and 1 days. What email will be sent? Email will be sent that your team is getting expiring on this day, 180 days. From what duration these 180 days are considered? When we create the team, from that date to 180 days. Okay. So email will be sent that your team is expiring, whether you need to renew it or expiration action based on the retention policies here, whether we need to archive or delete the team. What action need to be taken? Either to the owner, and if owner are not there, then these are the users. But what will happen on the renewal? On the renewal, again, the team expiration duration is get increased by those many days. For example, 180 days. Here we could specify the custom value as well. In between shall be greater than or equal to 30. That means the team should be present there at least minimum 30 days. Okay. What are the renewal policies and retention policies and archiving, that we will also see. But here I would like to discuss first what are the limitations with this. This requires the Azure premium licensing. First thing, if my company is a small size company, I don't have the Azure premium licensing, then I don't have this out of box option available to set the expiration. That was the first point. Second point, here there are only 3 options to intimate my owners or the users of the who are specified here that your team will get expired, like 30 days, 15 days or 1 day. Okay, that was the limitation. I don't have like I need to send every week. I need to keep the frequency of the reminders of the expiration every week. So that option is not here. That was second limitation. One more limitation is here. There is a no customization of email template. I don't know what kind of, unless and until I receive an email. Means of course I could have the documentation and check the email, but then I don't have an option to customize the email template. Now, what kind of customization of the email template? Let me show you in the presentation. Okay. I hope this slide, I'm in the slide now under the heading team governance custom implementation. This is the customized template we have implemented for demo purpose. Say the title, time to review your team. So here the flexibility I set to the title. From whom? We have created the shared email ID Office 365 governance. So we are sending email on behalf of Office 365 Microsoft 365 governance team. This indicates that this mail came from the governance team, to whom we are sending the owner of the team here, in case I am the owner for that team. And then I have a content here, like dear workspace owner or dear team space owner, or sorry, dear team owner or dear or team user, something like that. And then custom text there, whatever I will like. And these are the templates that I could change anytime. I could provide the several links here, like click here, that kind of thing. And another important team, I am giving here the team name. This team is expiring. This team is now time. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm giving here the team name. This team is now time to review. And then I'm providing through Outlook. See, this is very important custom implementation we have implemented for demo purpose. Like whether you need to, we are giving option here to the owner of the team, whether you need to renew team for 1 year, for 3 years, or you need to archive now. And then there are certain actions happens. What happens when we click on these links? We are opening one portal into the browser. Imagine this. we are opening one portal into the browser and we give the message your team is renewed for 1 year. That means your team's expiration, your team's life cycle, your team's duration is increased by 365. That means next review will happen after the 365 days. Okay, so these are, or I want now this for 2 years. I'm sure that my team is I'm using for the 2 years. I'll set for 2 years. Or based on my organization policies, based on my organization goal, based on my business goal, I could have these values change as values again, like 6 months, 2 months, 3 months, several months, whatever the value I'll provide. So these kind of custom helps to implement the flexibility, and that's why the customization is required. So we have demo ready for this kind of customization, and then we are giving option like archive now. Here again we are performing some action. When we click the user archive now, we have saved certain flows, certain processes behind the scene where the archiving is happening. So this kind of flexibility, we could give the option, I don't need this team, delete this team. So we could give the link to delete this team, and on click we will delete the team, which will be sent to the recycle bin for next, I guess, 30 days. Group remains for the 30 days with its content. After 30 days, it get deleted with all the content. So these kind of flexibility bring the customization and this kind of demos. Let me show one more email template here for external management user. Like we have custom template to whom the mail came, say tenant administration. Here we are not using governance team. Here I'm using tenant administration. Here I'm giving the links. Who are the users? Here psabadra@gmail.com, prasham.sabadra@apexon.com or multicloud.com. What are my subsites where the external users are requiring a review? That these many guest users, these many external users are added since this many long time on your team. It's time to review them. Why the external users have access on my teams since so long? And then we are giving the options. And then we are of same options for external users as well, whether I need to review those, revoke the permission of external users, or whether I need to renew the permissions of external users, again extend for few days. These kind of things. So when this kind of governance comes in a place, the custom implementation for the governance solution schemes. But then these are the very handy, very flexible, very easy for to maintain the effective use of my teams, to maintain the security of my teams from the guest access, from the external users, to maintain the easy collaboration among the users of my organization. Okay, let's move again. So there are these kind of certain decision points where some out-of-box features are available, where some custom implementation we require. Let me go back to the decision points again. One of the most important decision point again I would like to highlight as time is ticking. Let me have this slide. Team creation process. As we discussed, for one of the organization, we have implemented the custom form. This is a custom Power App form. We are going to discuss this in Power App session as well. But either you could have, like, I don't want to give the Teams creation process. So for example, I'm moving again to the Microsoft Teams desktop client. When I click on join or create team, there is option. Now this template features comes into the picture, which is again very handy. It provides some basic templates, but then these are again the same templates available. But when I create phrase from scratch, either private or public, I don't have to specify any properties, any other metadata for my team. For example, what kind of metadata? I'm moving again the slides. I need to set what are my business unit, who are the owners. Of course, owners and description option are there, but this is the example one of the form. Whether I need to allow the external sharing or not, I will control these based on my team's classification, team sensitivity levels. Now, sensitivity level feature is there. Based on that, what is the entities I need to set for my teams? This kind of custom metadata, which is not yet allowed when I create the teams from either team admin center or team desktop client. So this time, in this way, I could implement the custom form there. there are multiple approaches to custom form. We could have our custom template as well, but there are multiple approaches to implement this custom implementation. Either I could go for the SPFX component and I'll give add that SPFX component on my intranet homepage or add some links there. Otherwise, I could have the Power App forms. I could have an option of Microsoft Forms as well. So these kind of options. Here, one more use case is I need to put the approval process for the team's creation. When I order the workspace, here we have this generic form either to create a SharePoint site or team, but where this kind of option is there, where when we order the workspaces, we could have the approval process into the place. That on the button click, I could initiate the Power Automate, approval Power Automate, which will go to the certain approvals. They will review the team. They will ask few questionnaires. Then again, we could ask few questionnaires who have a team creator, team user, team owner, who have requested the team. And based on certain answers and based on my guidelines of organization, based on my organization goals, company business goals, I will decide whether to allow this team creation or not. So this is also part of the governance. So that should be in place. What are the other governance settings? Those are out of box available. The private and public, I need to be decided whether I need to create a private and public. Here, one more option is there that was not in this app. Might be I miss it. Organization level team. So there are three options: private, public, organization. Private matlab I need to members will request me to join the team. Public matlab means open for all. And organization wide means all organization users have access to the team. So these kind of decisions I need to take as a part of my team governance. Before that, yes, so we have like, I'm going to again the decision points to wrap up. So decision one, I need to decide the naming convention, who will control team creation, approval process is in place or not, only certain users are responsible for team creation or not, or all users from my organization, based with some guidelines. Best practices suggestion here is we should allow to all users to not hamper to the productivity of the users, to make them more productive, and then keep some guidelines there and keep some review process there, so that user won't create any kind of team. They will create the team with the responsibility. Then the membership management. This is also again important point, like membership management. Every team in my organization, I should decide how many owners should be there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at least best practices, Microsoft suggestion is the minimum 2 owners should be there. And here also one customization, let me show you that email as well. We have implemented. For example, say there are few teams I identified with only one owner, but what my organization policy says, there should be 2 owners. Then our custom job, again custom job might be my simple .NET Core application .NET job, or my Azure web job as well. We have like Azure web job in place, so that those could be hosted into the Azure itself. So these kind of custom emails. So our job will go through all the teams in my company, in organization, and find out which are the orphan teams. The teams which don't have any owners. Find out which the teams which have only one owner. They don't have the number of owners based on my organization policy. Those are not meeting my organization policy's requirement. So my job will send these kind of mails. See the subject, custom subject, action needed, add more team group owners. And this is the customization. Which site, Prasham Savada, this is again team name or site name. Add, then we have given the action as well, add administrator. When we click on this link, it will redirect us to the team's membership owners, where we could add the owners members page. And then some signature and all those things. So this is very helpful. This kind of emails, very handy to the admins, owners to identify, to get the mails and to identify those teams and directly perform an action. Again, there are based on how much frequency we need to set this kind of mails, how long we need to send. If admin or owner doesn't take any action, then what should happen? And those governance is in place. Let's again quickly need to move to the decision points. So this is team membership management decision point, and the external sharing, very important, considering the security of my organizations is in place. I need to take the decision. I need to continuously monitor the external accesses and what they are doing, guest accesses, guest users, external users, what actions they are doing, and so on. Then the life cycle for my teams, duration for my teams, renewal policies, retention policies, whether I need to archive, if I need to archive, for how long I need to archive my team, if I need to delete, how long I need to delete, whether I need to inform to somebody or something, or I'll directly delete, or after archival I need to delete. These kind of governance, these kind of decisions. And then which kind of features, as we discussed, we need to limit that guest access or guest users can't call each other, or they can't use the meeting invitation features, and that kind of. And then most important part, we discuss the documentation, keeping the guidelines, continuously updating those guidelines, and so on. And then the custom implementation. Here few snaps in my slide, how to control the guest access. This is from the team admin center, whether to allow the guest access to my teams or not, on or off, and then whether they have the calling or meeting features available or not. So that kind of features. This is again for few setting for the external identities, again from the Azure Active Directory Admin Center. What operations can guest inviting setting, who could invite the guest, any user can invite or not, these kind of things, or only the owners can invite, only the admins can invite, these kind of the settings from the Active Directory Admin Center. I could show you quickly into the browsers as well. Let's go to the groups again. Let's go to the Azure Active Directory Center. In the menu blade, as Active Directory menu blade, there is a external identities. I'm hovering the mouse cursor on that. Let's click on the external identities. I'll be redirected to the external identities getting started menu blade. And then here under there, external collaboration settings. So I am on the settings blade of the company relationship menu blade. And then here these are the options where I need to say the guest user access, guest in who could invite my guest, which domains should be allow or restriction, that kind of invitation written to specific domain. I won't allow to the Gmail guest user, so I'll specify those on the third option, gmail.com or yahoo.com or knowledgejunction.com, multicloudforward.com, those targeted domains, these kind of settings. So these are out of box implementation. Then we saw the custom implementation. Custom implementation, I quickly show one implementation we have, which this is my one of the application. I'm not going to run this. I'm just showing to the, this is Visual Studio 22 preview. And in my operation, like we have we are using the Microsoft Graph APIs to get the all group owners and to find it out. If it is a Microsoft team, then get the group owners. If it is a SharePoint site, then get the admin site collection admins. We are governing here both Microsoft teams as well as the SharePoint sites. So we are getting group owners and the site collection administrators and counting them. Whether they are meeting my organization count, at least minimum there should be 2 group owners, 2 team owners, 2 site collection admins, not or not. Sorry, matching or not. If that count is not matching, then we are sending the mail which I shown you into the slide. And this way we have implemented the jobs. And these are very modular jobs, like for group owner, finding group owners, the different job, finding orphan sites, teams, different job, renewing the external users permission or revoking the external permission, different job, these kind of job. And we are using the Microsoft Graph APIs here. We are using, this is the demo, and that's why client ID and the client secret key, but best practice is use the Azure app, register the Azure app, which is we will get the client ID and then use the X059, the certificate there. Again, for more secure purpose, upload this your Microsoft, upload this your X059 certificate into the Key Vault service. If you have the Azure service, Azure licenses, then use the Key Vault service. If you are even not using the the certificate, but using the secret key, then store this client secret key to the Azure Key Vault service. Use the Azure Key Vault service, or if there is a certificate, then upload that certificate into the Azure Key Vault service. Use that Key Vault service in your job. Use the manage identity feature for Azure Web job, for creating a trust between Azure Web Job and Azure Keyword Service. So these kind of best practices there, these kind of jobs we have implemented. We could, I won't run that because I won't share this client ID and client secret key. Not one, I can't share those. So, but we have the Visual Studio Azure Web Jobs, and we are deploying into the Azure App Service as a job using Manage Identity feature for creating a trust between Keyword Service and the Azure App Service. So these are the things. So here my whole point is to understand the concept of governance, form the governance team, let your governance team communicate with the users, take the decision points, of course, based on your organization goals, irrespective of organization size. If size is big, 10,000 users, 70,000 users, lakhs users, divide into the groups as per either department wise, country wise, location wise, office wise, whatever the suitability for the organization. If those are small or mid size, then it's okay. We could directly form one team and take the decisions. But then let's have the governance is team's governance is in place and make our contribute to success of our organization, company, contribute to the team success, and then continuously monitor those, adopt the new features which the daily basis those are getting released. So that's from my side for this session, and thank you so much for listening me.